Already getting the phone calls already, huh? Should we just dive in? I don't want to not pick up on people here. All right, I actually wasn't even ready for this. Just go right for it, though. Here we go. From the 408. Who's this?
Hello?
Hey, what's going on? Who is this?
My name's Claudia. I'm from San Jose.
Say it again. I didn't hear it the first time.
Foddy.
Foddy? Hey, Foddy, how are you, buddy?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for being quick, man. I just got on the live stream like 2 minutes ago. You're already here. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I was chilling on YouTube. I was doing some work, and I saw you. I saw like a notification that you
Go live.
I thought you were sending a video about like the game tonight, but then I was like, I'll call in. I was like, you know what? I want to have a conversation, so I joined in.
You don't need too many more videos on the game from tonight. Wow, that was a rough Sharks contest. Wow.
It was, this season's been like a roller coaster of emotions because, like, from a fan's perspective, I see like the position that the team is in, and like, I want to say like, I want us to go for like the first overall draft pick, but when you're in a position to beat one of the top teams and you lose a 4-2 lead, like it was just like flashbacks to the Capitals game, like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, you're going for the first overall pick, but you lose a game that you shouldn't have lost.
Yeah.
It was emotions. I don't know what to feel, if I should be upset that we lost or happy that we lost, because
well,
teams below us are catching up.
If the initial reaction to losing is good, something's not right. Now to your point, there's some consolations this year if in fact it turns out to be a number one draft pick, and we may or may not be doing a Conor Bedard segment tomorrow on Sharks Pregame Live, and by that I mean we are doing one. So
perfect,
perfect timing, right? So you watched tonight. Did you think when they went up 4-2, like the Ferraro empty netter, that was it, right? That's what I thought.
I thought that was it. I was like, wow, we're really about to beat the Canes.
Yeah.
I went in like, I know a lot of people I know who are fans. Like, we're looking at this road trip and like, we should be walking out with no wins here, which seems theoretically like, okay, well, that's good for the standings. If you're on pro Bedard, then like that's good. But when you're up, like, if you're in the game, you're up 4-2.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, well, we squeak out a win here. Like, standings, ignore that. Like, that's a great win for a team that's struggling to find confidence. And watching that slip, that's heartbreaking. From a long-time fan, that's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Even though I set in mind, like, I want Conor Bedard at the start of the season. Like, that was my goal for this team.
It really is like a catch-22, isn't it? You don't want to see losing. We're all trained for that. It's the right thing to do as a fan, to root for your team in the here and the now. I also think that the Conor Bedard situation, whoever gets him, it'll mean something different. And look, we know the Sharks are in the bottom 5 teams in the standings, but the other teams are Chicago, Anaheim, Columbus, and Arizona. And if Arizona gets him, it's a different situation versus Chicago. I think a lot of people would be ticked if it were Chicago.
Oh, if Chicago got him, that would cause chaos.
Right. You go right from all those years of Kane and Taves, and, they're not far removed from winning cups, to like a next generational player.
The next generation. It's kind of like the Rangers, having like a decade and a half of Henrik Lundqvist and then falling backwards into Igor Shesterkin. Like, how?
Right.
Generational goalie to generational goalie.
Right.
Like, it just doesn't seem fair on paper. But
And I think if the Ducks got him, then it's like, okay, now Zegras has a running mate, and it's kind of
Zegras, McTavish, Bedard. I don't want to.
I mean, it's an upward like resurgence, right, from Anaheim. That's only like just it's like pouring fuel on their fire. Their tiny fire right now, but it makes it a inferno. If Columbus gets them, I'm thinking, what are you going to do around him though? It's like Johnny Hockey and Patrick Laine go out there, and Columbus is bottom 5 in the league. And the only other thought I had was Arizona, like new arena, new rink, new start. Like it's the potential of not your grandpa's desert dogs anymore if Arizona lands Conor Bedard. So
it's an interesting situation in the whole tankathon. And, with the other big stories surrounding the season for me is like, what do you do with Timo Meyer? Like,
yeah,
part of me is like, you want to keep him. You develop this guy, star talent, but also like, there's so much to come from a deal there, and I feel like there's two halves to it. And I've talked to some fans about this too, right? You sign Meyer, and then you play him through, but like we're not going to be competitive, I think, for at least 2 or 3 more years until you call up Eklund, Bortolo, whoever you get from this top 5 pick this year, and then you start moving towards competitiveness. Or, you trade him for like a large package. And I think something that the Sharks need is a top defensive prospect. And that originally was supposed to be like Ryan Merkley, but he hasn't panned out as well. And I feel like a Timo Meyer trade could involve a top defensive prospect, which I think that's something, in my opinion, the Sharks to target, because their defensive prospective pool is just not looking too deep right now. Like the forwards, they have great goaltending depth. I'm a huge fan of Magnus Krona. I think he's been doing great in University of Colorado. But there's not really much in the defensive area, and I think that's something they need to target. But what do you think?
I think to your point, you brought up Timo, and I'll just start like from the beginning. You have to get something out of Timo's value. Like you either need to keep the player, to your point, but he would also with San Jose need to fit under currently some tighter salary cap constraints, right? So I don't, and the way he's playing right now, 40-goal season, it just makes it harder and harder, I think, to fit him in at the price that he will deserve. The one thing you obviously can't do, is let him slip to be an RFA, right, at the end of this year, and then somebody else goes and makes a qualifying offer on him, and then you got to match it, or you lose him, right? And you get basically nothing out of it. So you got to get something out of it, either a really good deal and keep him on your team, or, I think it's interesting, the news that came out that the Sharks were opening the door for other teams to talk to Timo's agent so that he can not only go to a winning team as a rental right now, but they can also make him a long-term deal to keep him. And if they do that, they're also going to kick something back to the Sharks of greater value. So the Sharks would benefit from a trade right now versus even, a month ago when none of that was reportedly being discussed. So you got to get something. To your point, maybe it's on the blue line versus a forward. Is it players? Is it picks? I don't know. It's probably a collaboration of things, but you got to get something out of Timo. And I've said this before. I hate sitting here and speculating of who's going to get traded. I hate talking about other people's like business like that. But this is
stresses me out.
Well,
it stresses me out.
That's what it is, though. For him, it's business, and quite honestly, this could work out well for him personally. This could work out really well for the Sharks as a team. So it's got to play out. I just look forward to it playing out and getting to a resolution so that he knows where he's going, Sharks know what they're getting, and hopefully everybody can move on, in a good fashion.
Yeah, I agree. I think from a Sharks fan's perspective, I think the majority of us can think that way or agree with me.
Yeah.
We're looking for 3 key dates in 2023. The trade deadline,
March 3rd,
the draft lottery, and the draft.
June 23rd, I think, is did I just look that up earlier? June 23rd is the draft. I don't know when the lottery is, but you're right. That's actually, it's more important than
I think the lottery is going to be bigger than the draft.
Yeah.
Because, that's going to decide the future right there. If we saw, I know I'm going to be stressed that day. Because, if you're in the 30 to 31st range, maybe in 29, you have a shot.
Yeah, but
we've seen teams scoop up the first overall when they weren't even in the last. Like we saw with in 2015 with the Oilers. They were third to last, I think, and they ended up with the first overall pick.
Well,
so you don't need to be last.
Yeah, but
be close enough.
Here's the trip, though. If you do the math on this, the 32nd place team in the NHL, do you know what their odds are of getting the number 1 pick?
I think it's this year's around 18.5.
I saw that. I also saw it was up a little bit above 20. I got to go back and
I got to really. I think Tankathon has him at 18.5.
Tankathon the other day had him at 25.5, but I wasn't sure. That was the highest number I've seen, but it also had the fifth to last place team as only an 8.5% chance. The bottom line is when we actually get this math, and I know we'll finally realize it as it gets closer, the season ends, we'll really crunch the numbers.
It changes each year, yeah.
Yeah, but the point is that even we're ballparking it, right? 18 to 25% chance. Let's say it's 1 in 4, 1 in 5 chance that even if you finish last, that you get the number 1 draft pick. It is not a certainty at all. In fact, the craziness of the NHL, you watch, it'll be the 7th to worst team in the league that gets the number 1 pick. It'll blow your mind. You'll say, like, how in the world did that happen?
Exactly.
But anyway, and I think I'm kind of glad they put that in the rules and the way that they do it, because you would hate to see, going back to prior decades of the NHL where it did seem like some teams were tanking to do it. Yeah. To, maybe get a Connor McDavid, but I digress. So, it'll be interesting. You're right. I think you hit it perfectly. The big 3 dates for the Sharks: trade deadline, draft lottery, actual draft. So from March 3rd to June 23rd, I think is the draft. A lot could happen in a 3+ month span.
Oh yeah.
And I look forward to it.
Who do you think is on the block this year for the trade deadline? Because I have a few ideas of who we might be shipping out, but I don't really know the direction of the team. And I know for like a fact the trades they can make if they really want to go for a first overall pick. But I'm just trying to see, like, what's your opinion? Who do you think is on the block?
Let me ask you this: Did you see Matt Nieto being traded? Because I did.
That was an interesting trade. Yeah,
right.
I think the guys in the bottom 6, especially like Nick Bonino, as much as I like his leadership figure, I think he fits as like an Andrew Cogliano type player from last year.
Yeah.
I think he might be one of the first to go as well. And I think James Reimer might be out as well.
Yeah,
if there's a chance.
And I just want to declare all the names that we will be discussing right here about this right now. We're only discussing them because they're really good at what they do, and other teams would want this to join them in the playoffs. Nico Sturm, I think, is another.
Nico Sturm, 100%.
On a good contract, has already won a cup, understands the playoff run, adding depth. But you're right about Reimer. I also think Erik Karlsson is an interesting puzzle piece. Right?
It's an interesting name. I don't see him moving anytime soon.
I agree with you.
Because of the contract, but he's settled down. He's having like good times. Like his family's here. He's got friends, and he just got here. And he knows that he wants to win, but it would be too much of a hassle for him and for the team to make a deal like that work.
I'll tell you this though. If the right opportunity rolled around, but I don't know if it will. And I realistically mean the right destination for him.
And for him,
has nothing to do with the geography, has more to do with the opportunity and what he'd be surrounded by. His contract is already his contract, right? Like that's settled and squared away. But I think it would be really interesting. We will finish the end of the season. I think he'll still be on the Sharks. But what happens after that during the summer when there are more and different talks, I don't know. But obviously the other one we've already discussed. I mean, for me, it's a guy like Nico Sturm. I think you're right about Bonino, but especially Reimer and Timo Meier. I think those are the big ones that we're looking at. And again, this is a compliment. If your name is on this list,
it's good.
Yeah.
From a fan's perspective, it always feels really it feels bad.
I
feel bad having these guys, especially guys that just came here.
Yeah.
Because you don't get a chance to settle down. Like you're living in an apartment and you got to move out that year,
Yeah.
It kind of sucks, but there's benefit for them as well because they're going to whenever you're selling, the guys are going to a competitive team. That's almost a certain, unless there's a 3-way deal. So everyone that we've been selling off, they go to competitive teams, which I think is a great experience for them. But also in a situation we're at now, it helps. If you want to say tank, it helps that situation as well. I think that James Reimer, I think it's a double-edged sword because the number one way, in my opinion, if you don't want to win, you don't have good goaltending. And we've seen that with like Chicago. They don't have good goaltending.
Well, and you're
And
not.
James Reimer. Yeah.
I was just gonna say you're not. To your point, you're not without a Reimer in the rest of the season, and without a Timo Meier in the rest of the season, without a Nico Sturm, you're not going to win as many games. I think it's clear. But you're not
going to win.
But you're also
you'll
not.
You'll be lucky to squeak out some wins.
You're not. Yeah, you're not tanking though, because you've made those moves to better your team. Tanking, like again, I've no professional.
I don't like using that word.
No professional sports team is ever going to prepare themselves to lose games on purpose because the players and the coaches have way too much pride. They're way too much trained in on always trying to win every single game. It's their reputation. It's their contract. It's not their team that they owe losing to. So
it's the players will never tank. I think it's on the GM to build a team that isn't qualified for success.
Well, look, if the team is getting better by subtraction right now for addition in the future, then that would be why they would have, a rough stretch of the final 30 games or so. I'm going to read this comment here. Sharks Fangirl on the live chat says, I've been noticing on social media that NHL fans are fighting over Bedard like girls fighting over a hot guy.
That is so true.
I
can't be further than the truth.
Fangirl said it, not me, but I understand, I think, the sentiment there. Hey, I appreciate the call. There are some others here who are trying to get in, and I just want to get to them, but wanted to spend some time with you. So thank you so much for the call, and have a great Friday night.
No problem. Have a good night, man. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Love
your shows.
Thank you. I appreciate it. We'll talk soon. All right, caller number 1 in the books. I actually saw that there were some others trying to get in too, and I was on a call, so I had to decline that. But if you're ready and you're out there and you're watching the stream, now is the time to get in. The phone number right at the bottom of the screen. And I really someday have to get back to collecting and then responding to voicemails. I feel like I was doing that for a good routine and rhythm for a while, and I got away from it. I like the voice questions. I like somebody calling in and giving their question so that I can, honestly give you an off-the-cuff response to whatever the topic is. So phone number on your screen. Oh, that didn't take very long. Good evening in the 209. Who's this?
Hi, Brody. It's Francisco. I've asked this on. I had to put my volume down first because I don't want to echo.
No problem.
But anyways,
you're a pro. I appreciate that.
I've asked this on a few occasions, but I feel you just like snubbed it to the side, like, I don't feel like answering. But I have to ask you now that I got you on the spot.
Yeah.
Here I go. Why haven't Sharks brought back Metallica Night on a seasonal basis like the Giants have?
You broke up there. Say it one more time.
Okay, sorry. Why haven't the Sharks brought back Metallica Night on a seasonal basis like the Giants have?
Okay, now I heard it loud and clear. I don't know. I know there is some mutual love and respect between Metallica and the Sharks, and the entry song to Skating Through the Shark Head. I don't know. I don't have an answer.
No. Oh, okay. No, it's just that I attended that Metallica night. It was so much fun because I'm a big metal music fan.
Yeah, really.
I also listen to Slayer. Yeah, I listen to Slayer. I listen to Pantera. I listen to Death Angel. So,
nice.
So yeah. It was such a fun night. The metal community was out in full force at that game, that night I was telling myself, this is so cool. I hope they do this every season because if there's two things that go well together, it's metal music and hockey. And Dan Boyle could vouch for that too.
Can I just tell you a couple lines here? Exit night,
Go.
enter light. Take my hand. We're off to Never Land.
Yeah.
Do you like that or no?
Yeah, that was cool. But the thing with me though is like I'm not the biggest Metallica fan. I only listen to Metallica because the metal metal bands that I love, they grew up on Metallica. So I just basically listen to Metallica because of them. My favorite metal band of all time is Pantera, and to this day, seeing Pantera at the SAS Center back in 2001 is the best concert I ever attended. It was them and Slayer.
Wow, you're into this. I'm gonna leave you with one more thing. You probably won't be able to hear this effect, but people in the live stream can. So, give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire. Sorry, that's all I got for you.
All right. Thanks for your time, Brody. Peace out.
Hey, Francisco, thanks for the call, buddy. I appreciate you. Sorry I didn't have an answer for you, but I just don't know.
Maybe you could follow up with Jay Beecher later in the future.
Okay. You know what? I know some people that know some people. I'll try and get you some answers on that.
All right, then. Peace out, dude.
Have a good night. All right, awesome. And yeah, I thought my rendition was pretty good there of Metallica. Exit light. I don't want to get demonetized here because YouTube might think I'm actually playing the song. It's that real. Or maybe it's not. All of a sudden we're in silence. Phone lines are still open. I just had to cancel out somebody who was trying to call in, so we'll do this again. Good evening from the 925. Who's this?
Hey, Brody. This is Brian McCumiskey. I'm from California, but currently at college in Indiana right now.
Hey, Brian.
There's actually an aviation-related question.
Oh, well, by the way, so let's just recap here. It's 9:48 Pacific time, so it's 12:48 in the morning where you're at, correct?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's correct.
But you're in college, you said, right? So bedtime's not even till 2, right? You're good.
Exactly, yeah, exactly.
All right.
That's the truth.
Wow, an aviation question. All right, I got the Aviation channel here. Plug for that. I have a whole separate. Are you subscribing to that, by the way?
I am, yes, I am.
Oh, I appreciate that. Okay. All right, well, then I owe you one. So what can we do for you?
Yeah, so first off, when you were in the San Diego meetings, I remember I commented about my commercial check ride, and that I actually passed. So thank you for your help on that.
Congratulations. Good for you.
So much. I appreciate the last couple tips that you gave me. And I did my my CFI ground school, and I'm just starting out the flying right now, and I appreciate any tips about that.
I don't know if you can hear it, but I had the applause going for you. That's great. Oh, see it. So you're really going on course here. I mean, you're going straight for the instructor, probably ATP someday.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, look at you.
Yeah, and I'm a freshman too, so I got all my training done at Livermore, and then went to college and got my commercial, and now CFI.
Great. And is your degree going to be aviation related?
It's aviation management, so I'm doing all Part 61 stuff.
Did you say you're going to IU, or where are you going out there?
Purdue.
Oh, Purdue. Okay, great. Yeah, that's awesome. Did you choose Purdue specifically for aviation?
They have a Part 141 with their university, and also a Part 61, and I like Part 61, so yeah. I thought it was a really good fit for me, and just meeting other people around. So I really like that. So that's why I went there ultimately.
Good for you. Follow your dreams, your passion. Honestly, it's so cool. People know me, and I can't spend that long with you on here because, I mean, I could realistically, but most people want it. They want the sports conversation. But the other side of me that not a lot of people know about is the aviation side. And so for you and I to have that connection is pretty cool. And you're speaking my language right now, even if it's not everybody's language. Real quick, you've flown on the right seat, huh? How do you like that?
Oh, it's definitely very different. Crabbing into the is obviously the weird thing, but yeah.
Muscle memory. Muscle memory is all it is, and eventually you'll think that flying on the left side of the airplane is weird again. Like you'll get so coordinated of left hand on the throttle, right hand on the yoke versus other way around that you will forget what it's like. You will prefer jumping in an empty plane to be on the right side, even though all the fun stuff's over on the left side. So.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, thank you so much, Brody. Really appreciate it. I hope all the Howard Terminal stuff works out. I'm a Bay Area baseball fan just in general, so really appreciate all that you do. And I'm watching all your Howard Terminal videos, so appreciate all that you're doing. I've
got a brand new one coming out tomorrow morning. By the time I'm done with the stream here tonight, got to go to the other room and edit up a little something. But I've got I even had props for this video. For the first time ever, I used props on a Howard Terminal video. So
awesome, man.
There's all the teasing you need. But hey, stay safe. Wintertime flying, I'm sure that's a lot of fun out there in a lot of different ways. But be safe in your flying and keep me posted, man. I really appreciate it.
Awesome, will do. Thank you so much, Brody. Have a great night.
All right, good night. That's very cool. I always appreciate people calling from across the country. In that case, somebody from here in the Bay Area, but across the country, across the world, whatever. Live chat on the phone lines. Obviously, I've decided to make this more of a call-in Q&A session tonight. So Numbers on your screen. We typically don't even get to wait that long before the next one will come through. Honestly, I'm always so impressed by how fast people just call in. Like it honestly is maybe 30 seconds between calls, and usually there's a lag on the stream. They'll realize, oh, I can call in now. So then they do. So we'll see what happens. I'll take a quick glance here at the live chat in the meantime. Bradley, I'm living in Indiana as well. Ha late night boys. I like it. Lemon lime squeeze. Hey, Brody, what is the mic you've used the most overall these past few years? Well, if you're talking about here in the home studio, it's this guy. It's the Neumann U87 AI. It is, it's like an in-game mic. It's high quality. I wanted it for a while, went out and got it, and I'm trying to get all the value out of it I can. So I put it to work on a regular basis. No question about that. I've also got a couple others here. Sometimes we have the Shure SM7B. You all have seen this microphone and various podcasts and such. Sometimes I use this guy. This is an Electro Voice RE20. In a lot of radio production. Oh, what happened? Did somebody call and then hang up on me? Whoops. Stand by. Didn't mean to do that. What are we doing here? Okay. Let's get this back. Let's get this back on track, Brazil. Okay. Somebody was calling, then all of a sudden they're not. Now they are again.
Get this back on track.
Good evening. Who's this?
Okay.
This is Greg.
Calling, and all of a sudden they're not.
Hey, Greg, turn your volume down in the background. There you go.
Okay, sure. There you go. You're down there.
You're good, man. Greg, where are you calling from tonight? If you can share
I'm
that.
in Fremont.
Fremont.
Fremont. Yeah.
I saw the 510 pop up. That's, believe it or not, that's still my phone area code.
Yeah.
Even though I don't live in that area code, and I haven't for a few decades, it's still my area code. So what's going on?
Oh, nothing much. So I usually sign in as Gregus J on YouTube, so I interacted with you that way a few times.
Oh, nice.
But,
I appreciate you being in the live chat and stuff.
Yeah, I was trying to. I've been trying to follow the A's moves here, and found out they traded Cole Irvin, which was to me a little sad because I really like Cole Irvin. I think he was for us, he was like the anchor in the bullpen, you know.
Well, in the rotation, in
the rotation.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
He made 62 starts across the last 2 years. So you're right in terms of solidity and durability and reliability. He was absolutely it. And I got to be honest, I'm gonna pull this up here momentarily. I don't interact with him a bunch, but he and I went back and forth on Instagram the other day about literally, I will see you in Arizona in a couple weeks, and then the next day, he's gone. He's gone.
Wow.
So anyway, I'm gonna see if I can pull that up here. So what's on your mind tonight?
Oh, nothing. I'm just trying to get caught up with the A's and still kind of stay interested. I've been a long time A's fan. I actually worked for him, the front office, like in '86. I got hired like the day they fired Jackie Moore.
Really?
And yep, Jeff Newman went in to fill in for him. But yeah, so I've seen all the good stuff, and then of course, because I'm older, so I got to we moved here in 1967 when I was 6 years old from Wyoming. And so I got to see like the three World Series in a row when I was a kid. Awesome. And then, we had a little bit of a dry spell. It was really tough during like right after the World Series years. They had hit that really tough spot, like when Mitchell Page was the best guy on the team. And then so there was a really tough spot. And then Billy Martin comes in and saves us for a little bit, gets us back to the playoffs in '81. So I've been on the roller coaster with the A's. So
wow.
I've got a lot of experience with them. And like I said, seen the good and the bad, and then actually got to work in their front office I was interning in '86. So, and our big sale was supposed to be like Reggie's coming back next year. So that was our big sales pitch. So, but it turns out like they were actually building a great team, and La Russa came on board, and then unfortunately I interned for him for a year through '87, and then right when they go to the World Series, I wasn't there. So I wasn't in the office. I was still in the area, so I got to go to some games and stuff.
So you didn't get a ring in '89, then, is what you're saying?
No, I didn't get a ring. But I sure had a lot of good memories and stuff of meeting players and stuff. And, it was a tough gig, though, selling season tickets,
Sure.
on commission. But I love baseball so much I didn't care. And I think that's the first year Fosse came into the team, too,
Yeah.
so I got to hang out with him a little bit. He was a class act. I mean,
Yeah.
I have to admit, sometimes I used to sit in the left field bleachers, like when a college team would come use the Coliseum to work out.
Yeah.
Sit in the left field bleachers and collect baseballs and stick them in my briefcase. As I had 12 baseballs, and I played a little hardball myself, through college, and then in a hardball league, like a under 30 hardball league growing up. So that's how much I love baseball. I just love playing.
That's
but
awesome.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so I hate to see the A's. I mean, I wish they would have got this done years ago. So but it's just like a terrible kind of sitting through this, trying to wait for this, to happen. So
You talking about the stadium, or are you talking about the rebuilding of the team?
Yeah, staying and so
well, let me.
I've been through the ringer.
I pulled this up. Because I wanted the audience on the stream to see it. This is literally what I was talking about the other day. Cole Irvin was sharing a video about how he was getting his new Nakona glove, all customized, green and gold. He was ready for the A's. This is literally 3 days ago, or 2 days ago. And then yesterday, this goes down. It's like, are you serious? I commented on his video. I said, hey, I've had my Nakona since '97. I might have to get one like yours for TV. And he goes, I know a guy. We might have to fix up your old one too. And I said, hey, see you in Arizona. And then the next comment was from like earlier today. It was just somebody else put a sad face because like, no, you won't. So it's pretty crazy. Just to go back to your comment, I totally agree with your sentiment. I mean, you've been around as long as most have, and I understand that, years and decades of trying to figure out something permanent. I mean, you probably remember the point where the Giants on the other side of the bay, they were asking to borrow the Coliseum in the spare time because they were doing anything possible to get out of Candlestick. So, perspective and ebbs and flows, and if you've been around this long enough, I mean, you're probably, number one, you're frustrated, but you also understand like what patience does and how patience pays off, So
yeah, the Giants almost went to Tampa Bay there for a little bit.
93. I remember they thought they played their last game in San Francisco. People were crying, and I think they thought that last game of that season was it. And here we are, decades later, and look at the turn of events. So.
Yeah.
The A's obviously have not gotten that far in the negative variety. Let's knock on wood that never gets that far. So I appreciate the call. Anything else you wanted to touch on? I don't want to cut you off, but I'm trying to get to as many calls as I can. So
just on the aviation side, I used to have a neighbor who was a navigator for the P3 Orions.
Oh, wow.
And I got into like the Microsoft Flight Simulator stuff.
Oh,
and he
nice.
used to give me all like his flight maps.
Yeah.
And you know what? It was pretty amazing. I could like fly to a lot of the ATIS's on the maps, and they were like pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Kind of surprised. It's like, wow. So that's my touch on aviation. That's about the extent that I have. I mean, I almost went to work for Atlantic Aviation down in San Jose, but I ended up at Fry's Electronics. But anyway, I wish I had the money to like, maybe take flying lessons, but
it's definitely something you got to. It's like college. Like if you're going to do it, you got to prepare for it, and you can't really start and stop. Then you're only going to waste your money, right? So you got to be fully.
Yeah, you got to commit. That's for sure.
Yeah, commit. You're right. That's a great way to put it. But yeah, you know what? Flight Simulator, honestly, it gets you. It gets you a good 40% of the way there of like sights and sounds and what the controls feel like. I still play it sometimes here in the home studio. So it's fun. Microsoft has always done a great job of making that as good as it can be for the decade that it's in. So awesome. Yeah. Well, hey, I appreciate you calling, and I hope you have a good night.
Okay, Brody. We'll chat with you soon again, hopefully. Take care.
All right. Take care. You too.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, sorry. I was just looking at my my hard drive. It looked like it stopped recording at some point here earlier. So let me try and fix that in the moment. Yeah, we're doing this on the fly. Hang on a second. There we go. Okay. Is it going to record again? Maybe I should answer this call. There we go. All right, from the 415, who's this?
How's it going, Brody? It's Mike.
Hey, Mike.
From San Francisco.
What's going on, man?
How's it going?
Good evening.
Good. Yeah, man, I was at Fan Fest today over at the Howard Terminal.
Yeah, Plank.
Plank. Yeah, it was such a crazy time, and I remember a few years back when they kind of first did it. It was a huge event, and I remember I saw Dave there and everything, but I was just stunned that there was no sighting of him. It was really surprising. So I didn't know what your thoughts were about that, but I thought that kind of spoke volumes that the owner wasn't there. You know, like or the team president president, I guess.
Yeah, people were I saw some comments on Twitter of people saying I thought at least Brody would be there, and the truth is, the truth is I was working tonight. I had a Sharks game to cover, and I can't always bend. I've missed some Sharks games recently for other A's things like fantasy camp and stuff. So, I think honestly the best way to put it, in maybe scaling things down, as the A's kind of did, this year with the whole fan initiative, is I think they realize that right now there's a little bit of tension, of among everybody, of uncertainty, and maybe the worst thing to do would be to kind of fan that flame of holding an event that just gets everybody way too riled up, and just to try and do something low key. I know some fans maybe wanted more, wanted different. I think that they're just trying to do their best to read the room right now and understand the situation.
Yeah,
and so,
yeah.
I don't want to speak for them. I don't work for them, and I don't know their inner workings. But I'm glad I'm glad they did something. I'm glad that they didn't do the wrong thing, right? Like they could have erred on the other side and done the wrong thing, and done something that rubbed people the wrong way. And I think they just didn't do maybe what everybody expected. So.
Yeah. Now I was going to say on a positive note, because I think a bunch of callers coming, but
that's good.
I was going to say, like, I kind of see a weird slight positive that I see about, because I noticed how this year there's a lot more promotions. And they're starting to do a little bit more giving back to the I mean, not as good as A's Access was, but they're kind of they're kind of starting to come back a little bit. I kind of feel like they kind of have to sign an extension at the Coliseum, whether or not they go to Las Vegas or not, because you can't build a stadium like in a year. I kind of think they have to be in Oakland regardless for at least another 4 or 5 years. I mean, even if they went somewhere tomorrow, if they agree tomorrow, you have to play somewhere.
Yeah.
So I think there's some positive there. I don't know. It's a weird positive. I was thinking about it.
The trick of it is Las Vegas has the AAA ballpark right now, which I do think could be used in a pinch for a year, maybe even 2, if they wanted to leave Oakland. In my opinion.
Yeah.
If they ever came down to it and decided that Oakland was not for them and Las Vegas is where they were going, I don't think it does anybody any good to continue staying in Oakland and playing games there when you've announced that you're gone already. You know, the future is laid out. Right. So to your point, I think it's more than likely that the Coliseum, is their home in 24, and I think the current lease goes through 24. But I think when everybody hears that they don't want to sign another contract there, no, the A's will sign another contract there so long as they have their next step done. They don't want to sign another one blindly, right? Is I think the better way of saying it. They're not going to go into a new agreement without knowing what's next, either here or there. So I agree with you to that point that it's probably more than likely that that they will be playing games there, unfortunately, longer than they wanted to. But I think, like, to the point, the only other real alternative is using that AAA home in Las Vegas. And that's not a great option necessarily. But I think it is a possibility. Then it displaces their AAA team. I don't think they want to do that, but it gets,
this might
gets a little tricky.
Fans here, but
go ahead.
But I actually have another radical, crazy idea that there is some past,
precedent for is that back in the 70s, back when the Yankees had to redo their stadium, they played at Shea
Right.
for 3 years.
Right.
So, and I was thinking, could we play at the Giants Stadium for some time and pay them rent, and we can just turn the lights on and they can turn them on to green and gold and play there, since it's all about new vicinity this and new vicinity that, until we get our new place. I mean, we could in theory, right? Or the Giants would have no, or you don't think that would happen?
It's a Friday night, correct, right now?
Yeah, yeah.
Have you been doing drugs or drinking?
Too much drinking, huh? Too much drinking. All right, well, hey, it's happened.
No, I'm just kidding. No, actually, I mean, so there is like history of this, and the Giants actually, I believe it was the late 80s, and they were trying already to move out of Candlestick, and they were figuring out options. Could they renovate it? And they were exploring the idea of sharing the, I mean, it sounds so weird to say it. The Giants wanted to explore the idea of sharing the Coliseum for a short period of time so that they could have options. It's crazy, and now here we are full circle. I think that is something that would be so far forced on the Giants that like they would never do it unless Major League Baseball threatened them of contraction.
Right.
You know, like it doesn't seem, it doesn't really,
no chance of that.
yeah, it just doesn't seem like it would ever happen. And I just think there's too much competition. It's been clear all the way going back to the whole territorial thing, that they're out. Both teams are out to not only secure their own fans and keep their own fans, but also compete for the casual fan. And when the A's talk about Howard Terminal, of course, it's for the hardcore fans, it's for the season ticket holders, it's for the sponsors. But a big deal of Howard Terminal is to go after the casual baseball fan in the Bay Area who just wants a cool experience. And right now, we know where the cool experience has been for the last 20 plus years.
Oh, yeah.
So,
you know,
that the Giants know that, and I don't think they want to give up any opportunity to help their competition get a cool experience of their own.
Absolutely.
They're not going to go out of their way to probably facilitate that. It's probably the fairest way to put it. So,
but you could say though about how money does talk, right? So what if they gave them an offer they couldn't refuse and said, "Hey, you know, I'm going to give you $100 million a year," or I mean, not 100, but
it would have
something crazy.
It would have to be all the money in the world, I think. And the other part of, I mean, I think the A's, I think they might go play at Chabot College before they play at Oracle Park or Evans Diamond, or I'm just listing every
Levi's Field,
San Leandro Ballpark. I'm naming every good baseball diamond in the East Bay. I don't see it as ever really a possibility. But like I said, the other way around was completely explored in the late 80s. So there is some precedent. So I was kidding when I said that you were hallucinating, because
it's all good. No, good.
It's there's some reality to it too. So
no, I understand.
Yeah.
So, hey, I mean, I guess we go back in New York times back in the 70s. I guess there wasn't this kind of greed that there is now. I just thought that, I mean, I guess those two franchises, or I guess those two franchises were able to get along. I don't know, a little Bay Area team couldn't get along, but I guess it's what it is.
I will tell you this. When the Raiders were considering leaving and all that was going on, I was actually a huge proponent of saying, why doesn't the Bay Area have one NFL stadium? Let's be honest. You have now 8 home games, regular season home games a year. It's kind of a waste to build a brand new stadium for 8 home football games only. And if you could have the Raiders and 49ers share some beautiful multi-purpose or multi-team venue that was configurable and shareable and agreeable, I mean, they would have both benefit, kind of like what happened at SoFi in Los Angeles, right?
Right.
I think that could have been and then the region gets to keep both its teams. But I think the 49ers were like, we worked way too hard to make this thing happen, to just give away and share it with you. And I think it would have worked in the football sense, but when you're playing 81 times a year in baseball, baseball is how it is, and the schedule is that, it would have been it would always be complicated for any two big league teams here in this day and age to share a ballpark, to share a home ballpark. So
true. I actually heard a funny story about how Mark Davis, I heard actually he didn't want to share the stadium because of red seats. I heard. I don't know if I don't know if it was a fake news story, but I heard it was simply because of the red seats. He didn't want to do it.
It was very possible. It's very possible that was a reality, and that was more than just a rumor. I'll tell you this: I toured Levi's when it was under construction, and they showed me the area. They literally walked me to the open area, and they said, "See this?
Wow.
This is the entire space that we have reserved in case another professional sports team wanted to make this their home." So it was planned out, like in the blueprints of here's an area for a whole separate home locker room and training facilities, but obviously that got used for something else because no chance of that ever happening again. So hey, thanks for the call.
Thank you again for the call, man. Thank you for answering my call, man. Hope you have a good rest of your night. I keep with the podcast. So, thank you.
Appreciate
the best stuff in the Bay Area, man. You and Chris Pratt are awesome. Yeah.
Oh, thank you for that, and thank you for calling in. I appreciate you making the effort. So thank
of course.
you. Have a good night.
Cheers, buddy.
All right. All right, another phone call in the books. Let me do it's 10, 12. I will do a couple more, and then we'll call it a live stream. Good evening from the 231 area code. Who's this? Hello?
You're kidding me. Is this really me?
This is really you. So turn your volume down in the background. I think it sounds like
I just did. I just
Who is this?
My name. I'm Sean. I was just at the Sharks Red Wings game.
Oh, really?
And yeah. Oh man, I can't believe I actually got on. That's nuts. Yeah, the Sharks are trash. I'm sorry.
Whoa! You sound like a Red Wings guy.
No. I don't know. Oh. Well, I'm from Michigan, so right. I understand that. But I have like 3 Sharks jersey. I love the Sharks, but I mean, yeah, they look better than the Sharks. Or I'm sorry, they look better than the Red Wings in that game. But yeah,
you're not feeling them right now. Okay, better. All right. So
yeah.
So how'd you find me? If you're out in Michigan, you're just a Sharks guy, and you found some Shark stuff on YouTube. That's how you found me, right?
Yeah, it's pretty much exactly that. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So cool. I've subscribed to you.
Appreciate that. And have you been in Michigan long enough that you used to go to Joe Louis as well, or no?
I've never been to Joe Louis, but my brother has, my dad has been. Yeah. So all of them have. But so I've never been to.
You only went to Little Caesars, the new arena, Little Caesars. Arena.
Yeah, I've been to Little Caesars twice now.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been to the. I've went to the Sharks versus Red Wings.
Yeah, cool.
This year and the year before. Yeah.
And let me ask you this, how do you get to be in Michigan and become a Sharks fan?
You know what? I'm gonna tell you that's I don't really understand that either. I just
wait a second. Is it the colors? Is there a player you like?
I like teal. I like the teal.
Okay, all right,
cool. Yeah.
All right.
I like the Jaguars too.
Okay,
so
well they're teal. I mean, the Detroit Red Wings logo, like the winged wheel, and the simple colors of red and white, and the tradition. I got to tell you, the reason I asked about Joe Louis, when I've ever been there for work, and I've actually not even been to the new arena yet. I saw it when it was going up under construction. But I really admire the fan base and kind of the culture surrounding Red Wings hockey. It reeks of tradition and greatness and teams that were put together with just not always the best players in the league, but so many really, really good players that came together and made great teams.
Well, people give me crap because like. I should just like the Red Wings,
right?
You know, but I don't, and I picked like a team that doesn't do so good. But
wait. The Sharks used to give it to the Red Wings in the playoffs. Remember 2010? Remember 2011? Remember 1993?
Come
on now. Come on now.
You got me there. You got me.
Well, hey, I don't want to cut you off here, but I'm going to try and get to a couple more. I'm probably only going to be on until about 10:30
No,
Pacific.
thanks for putting me on. I didn't expect to actually get connected. So
I appreciate.
Thank you.
You're up super late, so I appreciate you even calling in and
Yeah. Have a good night. I love you, Brody.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Yeah. Have a good night.
All
Bye.
right. All right, let's go to the 908 area code. Who's this?
Hey, this is Eli from New Jersey.
Eli, is that right?
Yeah.
What's going on, man? How are you?
Hey, nothing much.
Wow, New
just
Jersey.
been,
I was just talking to Michigan. I talked to Indiana earlier. What's up with all you late night owls? Like it's 1:17 in New Jersey right now.
Yeah, it is.
But it's Friday. It's Friday. We're good. We're good.
Hey, I love your channel. I
Thank
love your
you.
content.
Thank you.
And I have questions about the A's and the Sharks.
Okay. Now let me ask you this before you get going. How are you in New Jersey thinking about the A's and the Sharks?
I feel really bad for the A's and what they're going through right now. I mean, they've been struggling for a long, long time, and they should have gotten a new stadium a long time ago.
Of course, but I mean, are you from the Bay Area originally or no?
No, I was always born and raised in New Jersey.
Really?
But I would watch the A's games on like TBS back in the day, or
really,
or FSNY when the Mets or the Yankees would go against the Athletics.
That's amazing that you adopted these teams of all of them, the two that I cover out here in California. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a Yankees fan, but I do feel bad for the A's.
All right,
it's they've been struggling a lot, and I bet it really hurts for the fans to see them go if they do choose that route.
Yeah. Well, it's certainly a big deal out here, and it's honestly to the extent that, the 2022 baseball season when they lost 102 games, it's almost like, so what? The biggest deal out here is what they're able to secure with the new stadium and their new home. Because if they don't get a new home, wins and losses don't mean anything, right? It's crazy that wins are everything in sports, but they're basically nothing unless the team gets to keep its hometown, so...
Yep, exactly. And the A's, they've been wanting a new stadium for 21 years, since 2001 to replace the Coliseum.
I know.
It was long overdue, and now time is running out.
Well, it was Cisco Field. It was potentially San Jose. It was
Fremont,
a couple different locations in Oakland, the Peralta site. There was an uptown consideration of downtown Oakland, essentially. And nothing ever came through. And that's why even right now for Howard Terminal to be as far as it is, I think some people, they confuse it because it is cloudy and it is a little bit muddy sometimes. But if you look through the mud, I mean, there has been some significant progress made in moving this forward. Again, I have a video coming out tomorrow here on this channel, which I think people are is really going to make sense of like where we're at and what's left and how it compares even to Las Vegas. So hopefully it'll kind of like set the record straight a little bit. But I appreciate the sentiments, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, it's, I like the A's colors, I like the green and gold.
Yeah.
And, they're such a very iconic team and with so much history dating back to Philadelphia.
Yeah, and unfortunately, they've got a history of moving a few times before, right? From Philly to KC to Oakland. Let's hope that they don't make another stop. And Oakland was,
Unless I do have, this may sound like a weird idea, unless they pull like the Kansas City Kings when they played in two different states and two different cities.
Oh,
the Kansas City Omaha Kings.
Oh, no. Hey, did you hear, like, was it last year or 2 years ago, they thought that the Tampa Bay Rays would split half their season in Montreal? I think that is the worst idea ever. Because
it was very awkward.
Well, if you're it's not just the thought for fans. I mean, imagine being a player and it's like, okay, you're going to spend half your season living in Florida, and then you're going to have to move your family, your kids, your house, your cars, whatever. Like, you got to have two separate homes. I mean, that's asking way too much. And I know they get well paid and well compensated, but that's asking way too much for people for their jobs. You know,
two different climates too.
Yeah, two different climates. A season is busy enough as it is as a major leaguer playing every day. That's the last thing you need is to move halfway through the season. So,
yeah, I mean, it's just very unfortunate. I mean, you know, they lost the Raiders and then they came back. Then they lost the Raiders again.
Yep.
And then they lost the Golden State Warriors. And I do know that the Golden State Warriors in 1995 or 96 were going to move to San Jose at the SAP Center.
Well, they played there for one season while the Oakland Arena was being renovated. I'm not sure that there was some talk, I think, about trying to lure them. I think even earlier than 95, in the early 90s, when SAP Center or San Jose Arena opened, I think there was some initial talk of how can we get them down here. But once the arena committed to being renovated in Oakland, like that was going to be their home for, you know, the rest of the way. So. You're right, though. So it's always been a little bit of a transition, you know, and you think things are forever, and you hope they are, but not a lot of things are actually forever. You're right when you think about, you know, decades and such.
I mean, that's how I felt when we lost the Mets in 2012.
When you lost the Mets?
Yeah, you know, the New Jersey Nets moved to Brooklyn.
Oh, the Nets. I'm sorry. I thought you said the Mets with an M. Sorry. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, that was so heartbreaking.
Yeah. Well, and that's a weird one.
Can't believe we lost our team.
That's a weird one too, because, you know, from where the Nets were at the Meadowlands, right, out to Brooklyn, like we're not talking about a giant geographical. What's the distance between the Meadowlands and like Barclays Center? How many is it? 50 miles?
I think it's like. I know it's across the Hudson River, but I have not really measured the distance. Probably like, I don't know, probably like 20, 15 minutes from East Rutherford.
Okay, so even less. Yeah, so less than 50. And so honestly, but it's not but it's a different state. It's a totally different environment. It's a totally different thing. And yeah, New Jersey like lost their team, no doubt about it, even though it was such a short distance.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the Nets mostly had history in New Jersey more than Brooklyn.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
Just crazy.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, and my brother's been watching the Nets since the mid '90s.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when they were at the Continental Airlines Arena. And he's been a Nets fan ever since. And he even still follows them in Brooklyn. But as for me, I don't follow them anymore. I'm the Timberwolves fan now because we don't have a team.
Wow.
And I don't like the Knicks either.
Wow. I heard about the whole MSG scandal going on with the face scanning and all that stuff and the liquor license. Wow, it's getting messy. It's getting messy over there.
Oh yeah, and now I heard that they want to make Penn Station bigger and that they're going to have to move Madison Square Garden somewhere else.
I heard that too. Yeah. My first trip to MSG, I was like, what's going on here? There's like a train station underneath. The arena is like on the 4th floor. I was like, wait, you have to take the elevator up to the arena floor and then even up further than that. But cool building, tons of history. And I love the way they renovated it. But yeah, some weird stuff going on there. Hey, I don't want to cut you off, but I'm going to try and get to just a couple more phone calls here before 10:30, but thank you so much for calling in, honestly, and thank you for your support here on the channel. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you, Brody.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a good night.
All right, good night.
All right. All right, we'll go straight to the 510. Who's this?
What is up, Brody? This is yours truly, Felix.
Hey, Felix, what's going on, man? You were quick on the draw there.
Yeah, I actually I'm not going to lie, I literally just checked a certain server and saw that I was tagged and that you went live a while ago, but still thought I'd check in before we both hit the,
We've been live for an hour on the clock just hit an hour on the dot here on the live stream, so I got another maybe 10, 15 minutes in me, but I'm glad we're here. So what's going on?
For sure. Boy, the Sharks are for sure not going on. I mean, Brody, let's be honest. What is, like, from your assessment, what the heck is going on with this team?
They are only being offensively led by 2 players consistently, right? Timo Meier and Erik Karlsson.
Right.
They're getting good goaltending. I truly believe that. Like James Reimer is playing. It sounds weird. He's playing well. The team still makes a fair amount of defensive mistakes in front of him, allows goals at inopportune times. Tonight, a great example of that. Like the response goal, another goal within the final 15 seconds of a period. They're honestly not built right now to be a whole lot better than they are. Like, could you look at them and say they're truly underperforming? Not really. They're definitely not overperforming. So I think you're kind of seeing a team play out that is the season and this calendar year have to be big for the Sharks. Some moves have to be made. Some wholesale stuff's got to go on, some decisions, some hard decisions, a Timo Meier decision, an Erik Karlsson decision, a James Reimer decision. You're just seeing them at a difficult spot right now. So to try and for anybody to say, well, they should be better than this. I mean, there is the truth. There absolutely is the truth that they've been in a lot of games this year. But that's the difference of like the good teams are not only in them, they win them.
Right. And the thing is, like, as you mentioned, like good teams find ways to win, right? Tonight, I think we saw an example of a bad team finding a way to lose yet again.
Great point.
It's just, I think it's just from a fan standpoint, it's just super frustrating because it's like every time, like, and I'm not gonna lie, like whenever I think after the Ferraro goal, and then I think the Canes may have pulled the goalie again, and as well as called the timeout. As soon as they did that, just something in me just said, and I promise I wasn't trying to call this, but it's like you could feel that the Sharks would wilt at any minute.
Well, the Aho goal, goal, like literally on the next shift was like, whoa, that was a slap in the face. They're not supposed to score right after you bang an empty netter. And then to lose that face-off with 21 seconds left, and Nick Bonino and David Quinn were, a little bit frustrated by the fact that they didn't think that puck actually hit the ice. It was unfairly won, but whatever. Like, Canes won a draw. Like, if the Sharks win that draw, they can milk the 20 seconds, get it out of their end, and be done with the game.
But of course, that was not the case, and we both know what happened next.
But what are the chances you not only lose the draw, but then allow a goal? I mean, it was almost like, you gotta be kidding me, right?
Yeah, and of course, it's not going to get any easier with Pittsburgh tomorrow. I mean, although Pittsburgh, I'll be honest, I haven't watched a ton of East Coast hockey, if at all, this season, but Pittsburgh, still, even with the roster and the lineup they have, they have the potential to do some heavy damage, and it wouldn't surprise me if it doesn't go the Sharks' way again tomorrow.
Pittsburgh coming in tomorrow at 24, 15, and 9, 57 points. So everybody is a ways. Well, I guess the Devils and Canes in the Metro are way at the top, and the Rangers aren't far behind. Pittsburgh and the Caps are a bit. Pittsburgh's middle of the pack in the Metropolitan Division, but again, 57 points in 48 games. Like, Sharks would love to be that team. Pittsburgh also five wins in their last 10. Overall, plus 10 goal differentials. So, healthy team, probably a cusp team right now. They're on the cusp of the playoffs, and so long as they've got a couple of the big names, they'll give themselves a chance, no doubt about it.
Right, but it's just it's from a Shark standpoint, you just gotta I know the players are just gonna try to keep positive, even though things have been rough, lately, and it's just. I don't know what the locker room's like right now, but I can only imagine just the frustration, and you're just trying not to let that seep into your game, but it's just really, really, really hard. So it's going to be interesting for sure.
Yeah, you make a great point about it, keeping it from seeping, into your game and snowballing, right? And all those those are cliches that we all use, but in reality, that's the human nature of it. I mean, imagine being on that airplane tonight from Raleigh flying into Pittsburgh. I mean, you're just what are you supposed to do? You're pissed,
right? And they've just shipped out Nieto and obviously Merkley, and you're just so who's next if we continue on this route?
Well,
right? And especially knowing that the trade deadline is going to be coming up a bit, you know.
Trades are going to happen, though, regardless of tonight's game or not. But I would also say that sometimes what you'll get after that March 3rd is this. A relief, right? Because now what's done is done, whether it happens or not, or, you know, at least in a month, what were we talking about? A month and 5 or 6 days, we'll know. Like, we'll know how it played out, at least in terms of until, you know, July, and then the free agent market opens up. But
right.
It'll be nice to know. It'll be nice to know once we ultimately do.
For sure.
So.
And I think we all want answers as to where exactly this team is headed, you know, direction-wise. And I think that's why not just this trade deadline, but also this offseason is going to be critical for the front office. And I think we're going to see like what Greer's kind of a little more of what Greer's thinking, and like what, you know, essentially like how they see this franchise. Basically.
It's a multi-year experience. I think when you bring in a new GM and a new head coach, like you got to give them a couple years, like multiple years to show who they are, what they do. But you're right. Let's be honest. This specific calendar year, through the end of this season and the beginning of next season, you know, the Sharks could look different today versus after March 3rd versus how they'll look in October of 2023 on opening night. You know, it could be three totally different looks, but we'll see. So, Felix, I'm going to let you go because I'm going to try and do one more call. But you good, man? Everything's going well for you?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Right. It's been going great. I've been, you know, busy as usual, but good busy. And these Sharks, hopefully they find a way to turn it around, but it's not looking promising. But we can only hope.
Think big picture. I know you're a long-term committed fan, so think big picture.
Sure.
That's my advice.
For sure. And also, Teal Town USA says hi. Just saying.
Teal, are you getting plugs in here? On this is not Teal Town. Come on, you guys have your own channel. No, I'm just kidding. I appreciate that.
You've been a guest on Teal Town for enough time, so I think it's fair.
It's a collaborative effort. You're absolutely right about that. Yeah,
for sure.
Let's scratch each other's backs, right? Let's do it. So
absolutely. So, all right. Well, I'm gonna call it a night too. So, you have a good one, and thanks for having me on.
Yeah, appreciate it. Have a good weekend, Felix.
You too.
All right.
Bye-bye.
All right. From the 219, who's this?
Hey, Brody. It's Jonathan. I'm originally from Northwest Indiana, and I live in Ohio now.
Wow.
I found you because I'm a big hockey fan.
Nice.
And I found you, one, because my dad's best friend growing up moved to California, is a big Sharks fan, lives in South San Jose.
Cool.
And then two, I found out about you because I've listened to various Dallas Braden podcasts in the past, and obviously he brought you up several times, and I found you on social that way.
In what way did he ever bring me up? I don't know what you're referring to. I'm just kidding. I do, but the famous hamstring, the infamous hamstring pull. Did you hear about that one?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thanks Dallas for hooking up that one. So, I'm glad you did find me, and I think I got to be honest. I'm broadcasting in Northern California for 2 decades, basically. But you know, this whole next step of reaching people like yourself in the Midwest or across the country, it's so cool to me that here we are. Right? This was not something in my range even 5-10 years ago, and now it is. So, I'm glad it is, and I'm glad you're here. So, thank you.
Yeah. So. One thing I wanted to bring up first about the Sharks, because it's more of an unconventional point or question that you probably thought about, but you don't think about on a regular basis. So what, I'm going to list a bunch of Sharks what ifs in their history, and I just want you to first tell me what stands out to you. So,
I like this. All right, here we go. It's a game show. I got to make some sound effects. What do we need here? Let's go.
The league screwing them out of Lindros in 91.
Oh,
that what if?
Yep.
That's a plausible conspiracy theory. So
well, what if they get the number 1 pick in the lottery this year and they get Bedard? Could we cancel out the whole 91 thing if it works out for us in 2023?
If he becomes a 50-50 guy, yeah. So Lindros is the first one.
Right.
The second is if you could say, you brought up the Solani if he scores on the wraparound against the Avalanche, but I don't think they beat the Red Wings, so I won't harp on that too much.
Yeah, but it was right there. It was right there, and it's Teemu Selanne. Like, that doesn't happen 10 times out of 10. It doesn't happen 9 times out of 10, that he misses.
No, I'm just saying I don't think they get past Detroit. But the 03 draft is always an interesting one because, yes, they did get Pavelski late. It's one of the best picks ever.
Right.
But they should have, like, a lot of people thought they were going to draft Ryan Suter. They draft Mahalik. He was good but inconsistent. And then they draft Steve Bernier ahead of Parise. Imagine if you have Suter and Parise instead of in Minnesota, you have them with the Sharks on cheap deals for their prime. So that's another what if. The 06 playoffs, when Rafi Torres takes Mahalik's head off, do they win the cup with how Chichu and Thornton were playing that year? Do they win the cup if Mahalik is healthy and Torres gets suspended or just doesn't take his head off? Because Edmonton was running on the heater with Rolison, and I think the Sharks were the better team, and they might have beaten the Ducks as well that year because the Ducks didn't have Pronger. 07, if you remember in Game 4 against the Red Wings, in the second round, they're about to go up 3-1, and then Nabokov misses the glove save on Robert Lang. That's a big one. And then I think it was, I forget if it was McLaren or Hannon who didn't get the clear, and then they lost in overtime on the Schneider.
Hey, no blaming Scott Hannon or Kyle McLaren, my TV buddies out here.
But I'm just saying.
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Hey, what year was the Dallas 8 overtime game? It was 2000.
That's 08.
08. Okay.
That's 08. That's when Brendan Morrow ran over Mahalik.
Yeah. Sorry, I knew you were. I knew we were on the cusp of getting to that one. Probably.
Yeah. So that's a good one, but I guess 2015 is the 5% chance of McDavid in that lottery because they missed the playoffs. They were 9th in the lottery standing.
Right.
Imagine if they win that. They win the cup next year, or they win the cup in 18 or 19.
Yeah, well,
that's a good one.
Having Connor McDavid as part of that 2016 team or 15-16 team that went, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
That would that have pushed them over the McDavid and Crosby, Sharks and Penguins?
The Sharks become a dynasty.
Right?
The Sharks, they win 3 and 4. The official dynasty definition that Gary Bettman in the league has said is 3 and 4.
But
they
you know what?
Won 3 and 4.
Finishing where they did and not getting the number one pick. You shouldn't get the number one pick to finish where they did.
It's a fascinating what if that bloggers should be writing about because they were the team that just had the one-off bad year and then went right back up.
And that was the reverse. That was the reverse sweep year, right? Where they won the first 3 against LA. And then got swept out.
They got reverse swept in.
Oh no, I take it back. You're right. They missed the playoffs entirely. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they missed the playoffs.
Sorry, you're right.
Because
you're right.
Yeah,
you're right. Oh, and how about this? To that point, if they had got Connor McDavid, that's one of those situations where you could say everything else they did still stands because a draft pick is a free pick. It's a free play. Now you would have to pay him eventually, right? You'd have to pay him out and fit him under a salary cap. But initially, you didn't have to give up anything to get that, right? So they could have had the same team that they built to go to the Stanley Cup final plus Connor McDavid.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because he would have been on an ELC 925.
Right.
He was on an 88 to whatever pace with the injury, and so he doesn't get hurt. Brandon Manning doesn't take him out if he's playing in San Jose.
Right.
So he scores 100 points, making 925K. You win the cup, but you have that contract in 16, 17, and 18 at 925K. And potentially, you're a dynasty, and then maybe you're only paying him $7 or $8 million. Who knows, based on how much he's scoring and whatnot. So that's a good one.
You realize how depressing this is. You realize how depressing our conversation is right now, right?
Yeah, I think it's fascinating.
No, it is. It is. It really is. Thank you for bringing this to my attention. I like this.
And then, what was it, 2011 and 2019, they just run out of gas because they're hurt to hell, basically.
Yeah. That's in all the playoff years that they had, in all the different series, whether it was against Chicago in the conference final in 2010 or Van against them in 2011. I forget how they got eliminated in 2012. Was it the Kings, I think?
No, that was Blues. That's
St. Louis
had the own goal. Yeah, because they win game 1 on the half.
That's right,
Martin. Then Vlasic puts in his own net, and then they weren't that good. That's the year where Giroux freaked out on Ray, whatever, I forget his last name, the beat reporter or media guy.
Oh, Ray Ratto, yeah. You just go out and win the game, Ray.
Yeah, because they were going to miss the playoffs, and then they got hot late.
Oh, yeah.
Freaked out because they didn't deserve it, according
That
to
was-
Drew, and Ray was making excuses.
That was in a game in Arizona. I was actually on the trip, and I remember hearing that happening. I was like, wait, are they off air or on air right now having this spat? And you know what's crazy? I just asked you about how 2012 ended. I was in St. Louis for that unfortunate ending to a series, so I should have known better. I'm getting old, and there have been too many years. But you're right, and just to go back to the point, though, I think people always say, what were they missing in all of those years? Was it a player?
They're one player away.
Yeah, but here's the
They're one
deal.
player-
Here's the deal. It was not that their roster didn't have the player. What you said earlier, they always had somebody hurt. And I told Todd McClellan this right after he and the Sharks parted ways. I said, you know what, Todd, I feel bad for you because you never had one player just take a team on their back. No, in fairness, it was not Antiniemi. It was never necessarily a goaltender who was just like unbelievably sizzling red hot. It was never that. But it was also never one player who had a 14-point series. Like it never really happened that somebody took a team on their back. But I'm here to say, I think it was health.
Couture in 16.
Yeah,
Couture in 16
yeah.
put the team on his back.
I would agree with that. But it didn't lead to all the way, right? And what I'm saying is they had the teams a lot of the times. They just never had the healthy teams at the very end. And nobody's healthy at the end. I know, I'm not making that excuse. But they always had somebody who was so debilitated injury-wise that they were not the same team. It was a shell of the team that you saw on opening night and a shell of the team that won, put up 112 points in a season or whatever. So I think they were never one player like short, like they didn't have the players. I think they were always too injured down the stretch.
Well,
and that's just the reality.
Imagine if they have Kopitar instead of Gucci in the 05 draft, or Giroux instead of Wishart in the 06 draft. I know, like, the draft is a crapshoot. They capitalized well in several drafts, but it just seems like a lot of bloggers online say the Sharks seem to be like one away. They had all these steals, but they didn't get that game breaker or two-way guy that complemented everyone else so well, and they would have had them at like cheap deals based on when they drafted them.
So many what ifs. Hey, I don't know how you came up with this, but thank you for and that was hard to go through all that, but thank you for doing that. I like, in a weird way, I kind of appreciated that. I like that. So it's very thoughtful.
And Brody, before I go, can I just this is something you might want to bring up like on the video about the draft, is the odds are they don't get Bedard.
Yeah.
So say that they're not drafting 1, 2, or 3, because it's probably going to be Bedard, Fantilli, Carlson.
You're right.
If they're drafting 4 or 5, because of where they're at in their rebuild or the start of it or whatever, does picking like the right player and the player you pick at 4 or 5, odds are there's probably someone at some point in the draft better that ends up having a better career. But picking one of the right guys doesn't make it paramountly important to hit if they're trading away Meyer. Like if you need to hit on who you're picking at 5, if it's Zach Benson or Mitch Koff or whoever.
Yeah.
Because if you're trading away Meyer and then you have more picks, based on like where some of the guys are that they've drafted, some are working out and some, who knows, like, is it paramount to like Mike Greer and the scouting staff have to hit on this guy? Like it's huge because like if you hit on a player, especially high, it seems like that can shorten your rebuild or open your contention window a bit sooner than other things. Because like I said in the comment section on your video, some of the Sharks misses in 13, 14, 15, and 16, not all their fault in some of those draft misses, but like that's what hurts you now. It's 7 years, 8 years, 9 years removed, then you feel it because you missed and there are people after you that hit. Like imagine if they take Shesterkin instead of Julius Bergman or Alex Schoenborn. Imagine if they take Braden Point.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And I think the really good topic in question here is like if it's so obvious that Bedard is number 1, and he is, right? Yeah. I think World Juniors confirmed that if there was any question left. So how, and Fantilli probably second, and there is kind of a structure that everybody's kind of imagined, but how do you know if you are the 4th pick or you're the 5th or 6th, or you're one of those like top but high picks, but not the top? How do you know you're making the right selection, the best selection at that point and going with something that's more guaranteed than risky, right? Because we've seen, look at drafts of years past. Sometimes you're like, oh yeah, look at who went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, that all makes sense. And you're like, 6th, who picked what? What was that? Like you cannot afford to make that mistake, excuse me, in this high of a situation. So
yeah, and you have to evaluate every player based on their circumstance or their development route.
Yeah.
Because you have the NCAA route, the CHL, you have the European Pro route. Mishkov's going to be in Russia until 2026. Like, Will Smith's going to be a really good player, but you're not getting him from BC for a couple of years probably.
Yep.
Benson, like, you have to deal with the CHL NHL agreement. He can't play NBA until he's 20.
Yeah.
Like, but maybe Benson's ready sooner. So you just have to weigh all those things.
Yeah.
And everyone's board looks different. The scouts look at it differently. So it's paramount to hit on it, and you probably want to get another first.
Yep.
Probably a couple if you're trading away some of the top tier pieces.
You are 100% correct. I'm going to end my whole live stream, and you were the final call. So it was a good one.
Yes.
And thank you so much for the call and the conversation.
Keep up the great work.
Yeah.
Keep promoting hockey because it's a great sport, and I wish everyone enjoyed it. And we just need more and more people to watch it and enjoy it and just spread and be a hockey missionary.
Yeah, hockey missionary. I appreciate you saying that, and I will keep that up. So thank you for the support, and thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks, Brody.
All right, good night. All right, that does it for the old live stream. Hour 22 minutes. Made it pretty far. Got to be honest. I didn't know how long I'd be on here tonight, but thank you to everybody who called in. I always like that. I got to do more call-ins, honestly. Like the whole commenting on or chatting or me responding to a live chat comment, that's fine. But I actually like the interaction, and sometimes it just makes for, it's more longer form. I know you got to probably listen longer than you normally would have. And I don't get to go through topics as quickly, but I enjoy the conversation here once in a while. So good timing, losing my ability to talk. So have a good night, everybody. See you tomorrow for the Sharks against the Penguins. And we've got actually some fun stuff, I promise you, in the pregame show. So 3:30, you will not want to miss it. All right? Good night, everybody.